really don't feel like my channel needs further introduction. However, if you're new here, I'm the Throwdown Queen. I tend to throw down a lot here. We're just about to get into the Christmas season, and I think it's only right for me to share with you some of my favorite Kenyan Christmas recipes. And let me just say, Kenyan Christmases just involve a lot of meat. I have never been to a Kenyan Christmas where it's all about veggies, but we're probably gonna try to add that into this season. But in the meantime, before we do that, let's get into our first meal of this Kenyan Christmas season recipes. Kenyan Christmas is not complete without Mbuzi, which means goat for the English or rather non-Swahili speakers onto the channel. So what we're gonna do to this Mbuzi, aka goat, we're gonna turn it into a delicious fry that you have never experienced before, or probably you have, and you have your own twist to it. And I don't wanna talk too much. I want you to also share your recipe below, but in the meantime, let's begin to make magic. We're adding in about 4 cups of water, or even just water to cover up until the meat is well covered. And we're just gonna boil this meat until it's absolutely tender. And you can, of course, go ahead and just cover it like that so that it doesn't boil to spill over. And once the water is boiling at a better rate, you're gonna cover it. But we're just gonna do this for about 2.5 to 3 hours until the meat is absolutely tender, because you want your Mbuzi at your most tenderest. Now, while it's boiling, we're gonna move on to do our prep for all the ingredients that we need to add into the goat in order for it to, of course, cook well together with. So as our Mbuzi is boiling, I'm gonna keep calling it Mbuzi because it just doesn't feel like it's Kenyan Christmassy if you don't call it what it exactly is, Mbuzi. So as our goat is boiling, we're gonna go ahead to prep what we need. And our prep is pretty much done because you know me, I'm ahead of the curve. We are gonna be using some cilantro, which is some Dania, which is about 4 to 5 sprigs. And we're gonna be using 5 sprigs of thyme. We're gonna be using 7 cloves of garlic, 1 huge piece of ginger, and 1 huge piece of kitunguu, onion, that we've already gone ahead to slice up. So once we do that, we are just gonna get ready to fry up our Mbuzi. Now, we're not gonna need a lot of spices for this meal. We're just gonna need 2 Maggi Cubes, and we're gonna need some black pepper. That's pretty much it. Everything else is gonna be fresh. It's gonna add all the flavor that we need into our food. And now that our meat is completely boiled, let's get to making it super flavorful. So we've boiled the meat until it's completely tender, and you can see by the fact that the fork could go through it. Now, we have gone ahead to save some of this water that's been boiling. So we're just gonna set this stock aside actually. We're gonna turn up the heat back to high heat so that this meat can just simply go from watery to a nice dry base. So the water is completely done. We've been cooking it on extremely high heat for the water to go down. So at this point, we're just gonna be adding in some cooking oil into here to start frying the Mbuzi. That's about 1.5 tablespoons. We're going to be taking one of our Maggi Cubes right here. We're gonna sprinkle this around. And we're also gonna be taking in some of our garlic, about a handful. We're gonna sprinkle this as well. And we're gonna be taking in some of our ginger, and we're gonna sprinkle this. This is some of the stems of the Dania. We're gonna sprinkle this around. And we're gonna take in our black pepper and we're gonna sprinkle this in here as well. We're gonna stir everything together. Before we cover our lid, we're gonna be adding in our thyme. This is our thyme right here. We're just gonna pull it apart from the sprigs, or rather the root. We're gonna pour in some of our stock. And then we're gonna cover this. The key to making a very great mbuzi is all about the heat, controlling the heat. Right now we've turned on the heat to like a medium low in order for everything to just like marry together, the spices to cook, in order for them to marry with the mbuzi itself. And we're gonna give this about 2 minutes before we open it up, add in some more garlic and add in some onions and everything else that we need to. It's been about 2 minutes. I'm just gonna open this up. I'm gonna stir it around. At this point, we're gonna add in our onions and we're gonna turn up our heat. We've added in the onion. We're gonna be adding in our garlic, the rest of our garlic and our ginger. We're just gonna sprinkle in there. I've also added in the rest of the stems of the cilantro, Dania as well. I'm gonna stir this around. And you can tell things are tender in this pot. Look at this. It's completely fallen off the bone. Like there's no meat on here. Now, as we want our onions to cook, we're gonna be adding in some more Maggi Cube, just one more. We are also gonna be adding in our fresh thyme that was left behind. Just going to add in some of our stock. And we are going to cover it one last time. We're gonna keep it also at medium-low as well to let the onions cook and the rest of the herbs and the ginger and garlic to cook as well with the Maggi Cube. So it's been about 4 minutes. The onions are pretty much tender and you can tell. Pretty much tender. Now we're gonna be adding in the leaves of our cilantro into here. We're gonna stir this around and we're just gonna cover it for about 30 seconds to a minute before we serve. It's been 45 seconds. This looks absolutely delicious and we are ready to turn it off and serve. This is the most amazing mbuzi fry I usually make. So now that our food is ready, it's of course the best favorite part to serve. I don't understand why YouTube still has not created like a smelling app, because this smells absolutely exquisite. We're just gonna sprinkle this on top for some garnishing. And that's about it. Our meal is absolutely ready. It looks exquisite, and we can of course dig in. I'm having a mouthgasm because this is so good. It's actually so good. And I think the only person who's probably gonna enjoy it just as much as my camera guy and I is you at home. And I need you to make this and revamp your mbuzi totally so much more for Christmas. All you need to do is tag me when you make it, and of course make your family or make your loved ones or make yourself enjoy this Mbuzi fry, because it's one of my favorite go-to Mbuzi fries. I want you guys to check out the link below in my description box for the list of ingredients, the quantities that I used as well. Until the next recipe, where I'm dying to hear from you. What do you think I'm gonna be making next below? Or what do you want to see me make next? Let me know. In the meantime, I just wanna say I love you guys so much.